Ekta, you have a value plus on Biocon, our special segment?
Well, yes, Biocon has been in focus in the past week odd. First was those 11 observations that Biocon Biologics themselves, the units got a couple of days ago, 11 observations each in their Bangalore facility, 2 of their plants, and then 6 in their Malaysia plants. So the street was quite disappointed with that. But separately, now Biocon also sold stake in Syngene, 5.4% stake. The deal took place yesterday. Over 1,220 odd crores is what they garnered, which is around $150 million odd. Now, why exactly did they do this? That is because they're funding the equity component of that $3.3 billion acquisition of the biologics business from Viatris, which they announced earlier in Feb of 2022. And they said that they're going to close the deal by the second half of this fiscal. Now, according to Biocon Biologics, when this entire deal was done, they will have to pay $2 billion to Viatris at the end of the deal, which is at the closure of the deals. So how is this $2 billion going to be funded? $800 million is the equity component and $1.2 billion was expected to be the debt component. Now, $800 million of this equity component, $250 million was expected to be a commitment from Biocon and $550 million from other PE investors, including the likes of Serum. So the $150 million that they've raised from selling stake in Syngene is going to go into that $250 million total equity component of funding the Viatris deal. So that means that they'll have around $100 million additional left. We did speak to Biocon. They had a couple of important takeaways. They said as of now, they're not looking to sell additional stake in Syngene. Remember that stake has now fallen to around 64.56% versus close to 70% earlier. They do, in fact, also have a 90-day lock-in for promoters in Syngene, so they cannot sell any more stake for 90 days. They are exploring other options to raise that additional equity component that I spoke about, which is around $100 million for the Viatris deal. Multiple fundraising conversations are underway as per the management. They are in fact seeing strong demand for equity infusion in Biocon Biologics, and Serum could put in an additional $300 million in Biocon Biologics. Remember, they invested around 15% already. They could probably put in $300 million. On a diluted basis, Serum could be holding around 12 to 13% as per the company. Debt equity ratios being worked out. So if in case they do get a lot of equity component, interest, that $800 million could go up and that $1.2 billion in terms of debt funding could go down, and hence they could see a higher equity component versus debt. So these are important takeaways. It's an moving story, moving part story, because if there is further equity funding which Biocon would probably look into, there could be further deals which could happen in the group companies.